Alright, guys, Gapel here, and today I just want to talk to you again. I want to stay consistent as possible, um, producing videos, and I am going to do them in a long form video. The reason why is because I really want to hit those hours watched so that I can earn money through YouTube. Hopefully, it might pay for some of my tuition fee at college and contribute to my family expenses and maybe buy me some things that I want. So what I'm doing, um, what I want to talk about today is not anything related to what I'm doing, but with art as usual. Okay, art. Okay, so art. I see a lot of people when they start making art. You can really see who is very rigid, and when they are very rigid, they were not blessed by the mother. When someone is very rigid, they were not blessed by the mother and the grandmother. And that is because they always try to make everything ordered. So when someone draws, they need a lot of guidelines. They need a lot of those pencil, uh, pencil guidelines. While they are helpful in the beginning, they will not serve you very well over the long term. Um, I'm not hating on those kind of people who use a lot of guidelines when drawing, or people who uses pen when drawing. Um, I'm simply because that is how they do things. They have survived up to this point. They have kept their interest in drawing up to this point using those way of drawing, which is using guidelines. So I cannot blame them because if I were in their position, that's what I would have done with all their personal biases, upbringing, and all other factors that contributed to the way on how they choose to do drawing. So I'm simply offering a way, just an just a way, another way, because it is still drawing. It still falls under the scope of drawing. Um, I'm offering a way to maybe do a lot more or to improve drawing because it helped me. And I'm not very different from you guys. If it helped me, it might help other people. So that is to the concept is to have some fun when drawing and to fail a lot and to do a lot of repetitions. While a lot of artists that are very analytical, um, or let's say people who use guidelines a lot analytical, a lot of people that are analytical still is able to produce a lot of drawings, which is very good because it doesn't really matter what your way of drawing is if you do not do a lot. If volume isn't there, you won't be able to um, hone your skill. You won't be able to increase your skill. So, how do you transition? How do you transition from being very rigid? and using a lot of those guidelines, it's kind of like they're afraid to make mistakes, even though it is just paper on or canvas, even though it's just let's say scratch paper. It's just a paper bag from a store, from a grocery store. You can notice that these people are very afraid of making mistakes. It will not kill you. You will still be alive even if you don't draw very good. But these people, they are very tense. They are very rigid. And that's what I want to help people with. To remove their rigidness when it comes to drawing art. And to make them realize that it's not that serious while being serious at the same time. But we'll get to that serious point in another video. But I want to talk about how to adapt the thinking or how to adapt the mindset that drawing is not that serious. How to do that is I'm going to tell you what I did in order to arrive at that conclusion. Um, when I was in junior high school, even when I was at elementary, um, of, there were a lot of people around me that are very into drawing. May it be anime, may it be drawing cars, may it be drawing trees. I was surrounded by a lot of people that have a very clear interest and very clear talent in drawing. And I do not know if I am interested if my interest in art was from my upbringing or from the people around me. But I'd like to think that it was from my own self interest, especially having a lot of books growing up. But I won't really read them because it was not my kind of cup of tea. It was not my kind of it was not my cup of tea. What I would like is I would have my father read them, and it helped me fall asleep. Uh, it was very, it was a mix of childhood stories, childhood bedtime stories, um, children's bedtime stories, children's books, and there were I had some, I think if I remember correctly, classical paintings. So I had those. My childhood was filled with a lot of stories, interesting stories, fiction, and and ever since I was a child, my place in this world, I'd say, was not in the objective objective world. It was I was very safe in the fictional world, and through fiction, through stories that are not real, I would at the extreme of it, if you take subjectivity to the extreme, you will arrive at objectivity. And in the opposite, if you take objectivity to the extreme, you will find subjectivity. So, I was very into stories when I was a child. When I was in junior high school, I would say things that are not real, but the energy behind them, they were very infectious. And what I mean by the energy behind them was that it was very warm. It was very pleasing. But I remember looking back at it now, in retrospect, the energy that I was providing people was not intentional. It was not a conscious choice. It was more of a I feel like I don't belong in this classroom. Um, I feel like I don't belong in this classroom, and I have to have something that I can give so that I can feel that I belong with this uh, around these people, because I really uh, kind of put these people on a pedestal. I put everyone on a pedestal. That was on junior high school, starting junior high school, because on when I was in elementary school, I would just walk on everybody. I would put these people in a box because let's say I did not know any better. So the way I would understand them is if I put them in a box, and I put them in a box, and I remember that I was very jealous of people because they don't have to perform like me. They could just be themselves. They could just be quiet and not care so much about if they really belong in those kind of spaces, in those classroom. Because when I was in elementary school, I was sent in a private school. So, and we weren't really that well off financially, and the people around me are let's not sugarcoat anything, rich. And not all of them, but a lot of them are. So I felt like uh, I was kind of like an imposter. I thought people would relate to me, but our cultures are just very different. They would have phones, and I do not, I do not have any phone. I don't know if I remember this correctly, but I think I had my first phone when I was on junior high school. I don't know. Maybe I had a phone when I was on elementary, maybe grade 6. But before that, I really didn't have any cell phone. What I would do for fun is I would go to my classmates' houses, and I would ask if they had any, consoles, PSP, PS2, or any stuff like that. Some of my classmates had those toys. I would consider them still toys. Um, a lot of them had those things, and I really enjoyed them, even though they would beat me. Most of the time, they would beat me. I valued having someone to play with. I really valued having someone to play with because um, my parents were never. They were only home late at night because they had work, of course. And then the only people that would be at our house was our caretakers. But how they treated me versus how they treated me when my parents are around are very different. And I don't, I won't like, I don't like to go too much into detail regarding that, but it was not a pleasant experience as a child, you know. Um, I would really see people putting masks. I've seen it firsthand how people put masks around other people and how people don't treat everyone the same. And I did not like that. I would complain to my father that I can't, my father wouldn't even listen to me. Um, uh, mm, he was very occupied with work, and he did not have much patience to hear me out. Um, I do not have any resentment about that right now, but before I did. I had a lot of it. Even recently, I think last 2 years, I had a lot of resentment about it. Uh, but I was able to let that go, thanks to myself, thanks to my father, thanks to everyone, really. You know, I think there will come a time where I won't speak anymore because what I say about how certain things, about why and how certain things would happen, are only based on the factors that I know, that I see, and that I have an integrated understanding about. How about things that I don't see, that influence how things are happening and why things are happening? How about those things? Will I be able to give name to them? If not, then my conclusions are incomplete. Therefore, um, everything that I talk about is incomplete. Therefore, it is kind of irrelevant. It's just noise, in my opinion. And in recent years, I have found a lot of silence. I found a lot of peace and gold. I would like to call them gold. There's a lot of wisdom in staying silent. But maybe I'm just saying this because I've realized the feeling of being, I know firsthand the feeling of talking a lot, of not being able to think, just being in my body. Maybe that's why I'm that much knowledgeable about it. I'm that wise about it. But who knows? Uh, Mm, so I don't see the point in talking now. At first, it was very hard. I was realizing all of this in junior high school, maybe grade 8 or grade 9. I would be thinking of another thing, but I wouldn't be saying anything. Or if I would say anything, it would be another thing than the ones that I'm thinking. So there's a very big disconnect here. There was a very big disconnect there. I think that is what they call cognitive dissonance. What you say isn't what you think isn't what you say, and what you say isn't what you think, and that is very difficult. That's a very difficult place to be in. Overall, I think I'm a very empathetic person. Um, Reason being is that if I see someone, people that are struggling more than you are stronger than you, especially if they are still able to participate within their local communities, their families, whatever they are in their point of life right now. If I think I can see if people struggle a lot, if they are carrying something heavy, I think I can see that. At first, I didn't like that. I didn't like that people. I didn't like the thought that there are people that could suffer more than me because it made me feel very weak. Because I was having fun, I was a child, I was having fun, and then I see people that struggle more than me, and then they're not having fun. I was inviting them to have fun, but they find it very difficult to. And so, so I think that's also another reason why I am very talkative and I am very generous of my energy before. Although looking back, it was not because of those reasons. I can only say these because I thought about it a lot. I've thought about it a lot, and I was able to connect a lot of dots. So that's why I was very talkative back then. But it was mostly because I was insecure. Uh, so I would be able, I had the ability to feel other people's suffering because I can feel energy. When I was a child, it was all that was. I think I was allowed to notice, to perceive. I think my parents didn't want me to, my eyes to be open that they were struggling, that they were not in the very best shape. So the only thing that I was able to do when I was a child was look and feel, and that was amazing because a drawing is discovering different ways of seeing, and you don't just draw very mechanically. You add emotion to it. Um, the formula of a good drawing, a great drawing, is technical ability plus emotions. If you only have technical ability, it will look robotic. It will lack life. However, if you only lack emotions, it will not be very. It will not look very convincing. It will still uh, pierce through people, um, but it is in a very abstract way. It is not in a very objective way. I'm not saying it's bad, but since I also do it now, but it's not, if you're um, aspiring to be to be like a master in drawing, much like Kim Jong Gi, people in the Super Ani group, or a comic book illustrator, or Visdev. Um, you of course have to have a professional skill in drawing. Okay, so you have to learn the fundamentals. It must align with reality. Okay, so when I was a child, all I was allowed to do was look and feel. They would cut everything that I would say. They wouldn't let me talk. They would always have something to say when I was talking, so I would just shut up. Um, they made it very difficult uh, to tell the truth either. Uh, I think I remember they don't like me to say it. They would just they were fine in me knowing, but they would stop it at every chance of me telling the truth, which was okay. Looking at it now, I think it benefited me a lot since I have taken drawing. Uh, I tell the truth by drawing, but still, it is an illusion because it is not real. Um, you cannot hold it physically, but it is a mental phenomenon. It's a mental object. You can float it in your head, uh, but that's much about it. You cannot hold it. You cannot do anything physical with it. It's just in the mind, but no one can take it away from you. No one can touch it. No one can break it. So you're good. Um, there's freedom in that, in knowing that people cannot take it away from you. That you have sole ownership of that thing, which is good. So I was able to carry those two things in my later years in junior high school and in college. But I started drawing, looking at tutorials on YouTube, especially by Proco, about how to draw. So I bought sketchbooks, but I wouldn't be able to really even fill them up. I would just buy them, but I would draw on them, and but I wouldn't really show them to my classmates or other people even. I would post some of them on social media, but that was just copying. The real learning, me learning art, I won't really include a lot of people on it. I don't know. I was very sensitive about showing people my drawing. Um, However, it still needed feedback. I also notice when people feel impressed by it, when they feel impressed, I also feel that energy. Some would compliment it, um, others would just look and walk away, and I really appreciated both because I needed it. I really needed it. I needed external feedback as well. And but looking back at it now in retrospect, drawing was the only thing that made people leave me alone, but still esteemed me, and I was still a part of something. I can still function within a society, within my local community, which is good, within my family. However, I would also be able to function outside of it, to push social norms, boundaries. Um, I am allowed to do a lot of things as an artist, as a person who does art. I've done some NSFW art, and I am hiding it. I won't show it to anyone. I'm very hesitant. I haven't shown it to anyone. But I would be able to do a lot of things, blasphemous things, things that are against culture, against established taboos, established norms, taboos. I would be able to do that, and because it was under the guise of just drawing, and people aren't really taking artists seriously, drawing seriously, because they would tell you that it's just a drawing. However, there's freedom in that. For me, there's freedom in that. When there's really not much things you can express yourselves, when there's not a lot of avenues of expression, you would kind of find satisfaction in the restraint, which is back then it was very difficult to carry. Um, when I had that cognitive dissonance, um, I told you I wasn't saying what I was thinking. So what would happen is the energy would pile up in my throat. Back then it was on my throat. Now, as years pass, I can feel it in my chest, and now they are in my stomach. The, um, but I was able to have something, um, which an outlet. So if I'm drawing, I can breathe properly. I feel like I can breathe properly. Uh, so it became not only a way of expressing myself, but an actual became a way of living as well. I was reading the book by Betty Edwards, drawing from the right side of the brain, and I think she quoted something there that when drawing becomes a way of expressing yourself, it becomes something else. And I think that has applied to me, to myself. Mm, because I don't really talk a lot right now, with the exception of my YouTube channel. Uh, since it is about art, and I also wonder why a lot of artists, especially very skilled artists and professional artists, they I've noticed that they barely talk about their personal life. They would occasionally mention it, but even even then, they would downplay it. They would downplay their um, personal life, and I think I'm starting to understand why. Um, I've said on my previous video that the strokes and values and textures you put on paper on a canvas, they require energy. And where do you get those energy? Um, at we only have limited amounts of energy. Uh, I have a theory that to be able to be a successful artist or to be very skilled at drawing, your life must be sacrificed for it. And I know this might sound, what do you call this? I know this might sound cringe or superstitious or pretentious, but I stopped trying to make sense of everything in my life. And before, I would really try to make sense of everything. I would have reasons to, I would have explanations on why things are happening. I would attach labels to people, which now I find that that is very disrespectful because to put a label on someone for your benefit to make it easier for you to navigate a space is very disrespectful because it denies the other qualities of a person and limits them to what you have uh, labeled them to. It's very disrespectful. I would not like other people to do that to me. That's why I don't do it to other people now. 'Cause that's very disrespectful. We are a lot more than what other people need us to be. We are a lot more than their expectations of us. We're more than the perception of other people. Because a lot of people are very imposing. A lot of people, even if they are not very verbal about it. Okay? A lot of people are very imposing. And especially those people that are very subtle about it. Those are the most dangerous kinds of people. They will make you do or be a certain thing without you even knowing about it, without even you having an idea that someone is doing that to you. That is very, in my opinion, evil. But who knows? Um, who knows? The world is so vast. It is so complex. It is so big. And sige, sige. This is part 1. Bye for now.